Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Warships from Ungani Titan. And we're here on the Archipelago map, and once again I'm in the Sampson. I have 11 battles I think so far in destroyers, so it must be in the Sampson. I think this is the random battle count only. I think it records everything separately. 217 battles all told, so I'm still pretty much a newbie when it comes to this game. But I think I've learned or picked up a few things. Just rewatching the videos is actually quite useful. We're trying to spend too much time in torpedo mode and probably not enough time firing my guns, and I tend to maneuver inefficiently, shall we say, in the sense that I should probably keep on the guns until I'm actually ready or close enough to actually have a decent chance of hitting with torpedoes. Although sometimes I suppose launching torpedoes from a long way away is probably not a bad idea, in the sense that you can use them a bit like sheepdogs. The fact that they know you have torpedoes in the water is going to constrain the directions in which they can go. We're coming over here with a great deal of company this time. There's a substantial amount of our fleet coming this direction. In fact, we've seemed to split into two equal-sized fleets, one heading towards Charlie and one heading towards Bravo. And that's actually not a bad idea, because both fleets they're not out of mutual assistance range, or at least it's not impossible for them to help, depending on where the enemy finish up being located. If the enemy was found anywhere between us, they would be in real trouble. So despite being in a destroyer, I think some of my fellow destroyers are a bit faster than I am, and they're spotting the enemy. I'm not picking up any spotting or credit for spotting any of these ships, and we've spotted our first to St. Louis, and he's not alone, but it takes a while for the rest of them to appear. There's another destroyer. I've been detected probably by the enemy destroyer, and then two more ships hove into view, and two destroyers, and one of our guys just sailing straight at them. No deviation in course, no hesitation, just down their throats, so to speak. Well, that is a lot of torpedoes in the water, so I managed to get a useful hit in there, and I set a guy on fire, and that destroyer there was just sailing straight in, broadside on, to an awful lot of torpedoes without reacting whatsoever. I'm running away. It seems like a good idea at the time. The other guy is going to die. He again is surrounded by enemy ships, and he's at a very close range, and I don't know if he was hit by torpedoes or not, but there's quite a lot of them just after flashing past him. The guy who came down from the northern side has laid down a big raft of smoke, and I'm going to take advantage of it and hide behind it and put it between me and a substantial part of the enemy fleet. And I've just launched some sort of torpedoes of my own towards the direction of that smoke screen. There's a destroyer in there somewhere, and there's a reasonable chance, well, there's not a reasonable chance, but there's always a possibility, if he's still in there, of hitting him. And the enemy cruisers aren't faring too well. They're caught in the open, I suppose, with a lot of firepower coming in on top of them, and that enemy battleship is now totally isolated. So I'm going to focus my attention on him, support the destroyer in front of me, and I think I'm going to be joined by the bulk of our fleet, because the destroyer's running away to the south, and this guy's going to be completely on his own. Now, in hindsight, whether it was a good idea of me devoting my attention to this battleship, I don't know. I didn't really realise that he was probably also receiving the attention of pretty much every other ship in our fleet. The enemy destroyer has gone away. There's one guy chasing after him, but we're not staying in the cap circle. We're not paying attention to that side of the battle, which is probably a mistake on our part. The battleship, or the ship overhead, is showing, he's a cruiser actually, is he? He's showing reasonable awareness to the fact that there are going to be torpedoes in the water on different sides of him, and he's actually doing a fairly good job of avoiding them. I know the ranges are a bit long, and again, I thought these might have had a better chance, but I don't think they'll arrive in time. And I only launched 2, which I've done that a couple of times in the course of this battle, and I'm not too sure exactly what I'm doing wrong. I think I might have been double clicking too fast, so the second click wasn't registering, and I was then only launching 1 torpedo from each tube rather than emptying the whole tube. I'm not too sure exactly what I was doing wrong, but I did it a couple of times in the course of this battle, and I know when I played it that I didn't intend to launch 2 torpedoes at the time in those cases. Something I'm going to have to look out for, I suppose, when I am playing the game again and coming back to the Sampson. I will probably play this quite a bit more. I need to just practice, get used to the idea of playing destroyers at this level. You can have a bit of a wait time, and sometimes you do have very unsatisfactory battles where you get very few ships in the queue, and therefore you finish up with like 4 ships or 6 ships. Occasionally, I think I've even had a couple of 2 asides as well. I also think I might have been better off if I'd gone around the other side of the island. I might not have made it in time, but it turns out coming around this side didn't do me any good, because almost all of my shots got stuck on that sandbar or in the rocks on the sandbar rather than coming anywhere near the enemy ship. So now we're in open water, and I have to come around the island at this stage. And the thing is, now I'm isolated from the rest of the battle. I'm well away from the action. So I kind of resolved that I'm going to head for Bravo. I thought that might be the quickest way to get back into the action. The enemy have actually no, we have it capped. We have it capped with their enemy ships in it, and therefore it's the nearest source of the nearest way to get into the action. I thought maybe I'd go in, help cap Bravo, and then maybe head for Alpha. Fleet situation looks fairly even at the moment. So we're coming around the bottom of the island. There's a battleship there. He's stationary in front of me, but he's kind of out of range of my guns at the moment. But he is not sure what exactly he's doing. But he's definitely spotted by one of our ships. We have a destroyer off to the south, engaged against cruiser on his own. And there are a couple of more enemy ships spotted inside. And Bravo. Was the cap interrupted there for a second? It looks like it was. So there's probably some long-range fire incoming from some of our ships, either to the north or they've capped Bravo now. So the enemy have 2 out of the 3 capture circles, so we're going to have to reverse that situation pretty quickly. Or they can actually build up a fairly substantial lead if it's left continue on for too long. We have, however, succeeded in capping Charlie, and we do have ships coming through Charlie, getting straight into the fight and getting involved fairly quickly, I suppose. So I was aiming for the northern side of the island there in front of me, see if I can get torpedoes into that passage. And I spend, I think, a little bit. I probably swing too close to the island. I'd be better off, I think, taking a more wider course and then just launching the torpedoes from one side, then closing in and doing things a bit differently to the way I did them. But anyway, I did them the way I did them. Battleships, enemy ships are coming this way, but they're not. Well, we've been spotted now, but we do have island between us and the enemy ships. So I come in, I kick off smoke, slow down, launch torpedoes. Again, I only launched 2. I do that thing again. And I'm reversing back up. I thought he might keep coming this way, or at least head around the other smaller island, but I suppose you take the torpedoes in the water. I go further out, and I launch my remaining another salvo of torpedoes, and he's kind of didn't realise that my friendly battleship was this close. I wasn't paying enough attention to the minimap. I knew he was behind me because I could see the shots being traded back and forth, and I should probably have switched away from torpedo view at this stage back to gunnery view. We have managed to get a torpedo hit, which was useful and did quite a bit of damage, but I'm not doing anything at the moment, and I should have been in gunnery view. There's no chance I'm going to fire torpedoes. The battleship is clear, but the destroyer is closing in behind in the area, and he's launched a salvo of his own. which are almost certainly going to hit. Or they would if the battleship wasn't dead beforehand. Now I go around to the north of the island here, and I think that's also a mistake that I should have. I'd have been quicker just going south. And I also make the decision, I think, at this point to cap Bravo and head for Alpha, rather than again going north with the rest of the fleet. I wasn't terribly confident. I suppose I'd lost a lot of battles on this particular day, so I wasn't terribly confident that we would necessarily beat the remaining enemy ships that are basically to the west of me. So the other side of the island, the other side of Bravo. There's the enemy cruiser that was off to the south, and I'm kind of steaming in his general direction while everybody else is kind of going west. I'm going kind of southwest, I suppose. And we do have a distinct advantage at this point in time. So we're about to cap Bravo. We cap Bravo, and I just keep going. I suppose I had a plan, and I decided I was sticking to it, even if it wasn't necessarily the smartest of ideas, or it did me the most good in terms of opportunities to do damage. But I did find, I remember playing World of Tanks a lot in my early games, that I would often get myself killed by not having sort of a clear, immediate tactical objective. So if I decided to go one way and then thought maybe I should be going another way, but without actually making up a definitive kind of plan or a route, that I would find myself sort of hesitating and doing neither one thing nor the other, and often getting caught out in the open and then destroyed. So kind of reluctant to repeat those kind of mistakes in World of Warships, even though it's a different game, but it takes more anticipation to work out exactly where you should be in World of Warships. And I probably don't quite have the experience under my belt yet to see the way the flow of the game would normally go, or to tell if there is a flow or a pattern to the game. Again, switching to torpedo views, probably should have gone straight to gunnery. Range is going to be too far for torpedoes. So I'm wasting time essentially here where I could have been firing my guns. Now I do launch torpedoes, but you know I suppose he's going to be they're going to be at long range. They're actually quite unlikely to hit, especially since as soon as I get behind the island, this guy actually turns the ship around. He seems to be somebody who has at least some experience and is expecting the torpedoes in the water at this point in time. Now I come around the island and I slow down and reverse my course. I slow down because I didn't want to overshoot the end of the island, and I think it shortens your turn circle. I'm not 100% sure, but it seems to me that if you slow down a little bit at the start of the turn and then speed up when you're coming out of the turn, it'll shorten your turn circle. Whereas if you're full speed ahead, you'll have your maximum turn circle as well. Then it takes quite a lot of water for you to turn the ship around. Again, I make the mistake of spending too much time in torpedo mode. I should have gone back to gunnery mode, because there's no way I'm going to be launching torpedoes from this range, or at least if I am, I'm not going to have any chance of hitting. We close over, switch back to gunnery mode. He's sailing along, giving me a nice broadside, and we get a couple of rounds in, and we're managing to land hits because we're close enough to be able to do it. Most of the other gunnery from the rest of the fleet's coming in at pretty long ranges. Well, I suppose there's one cruiser not too far away, but everybody else is a good distance away. Anyway, we're coming around here, and we're thinking of launching torpedoes again. Although the range is probably a bit on the long side. So back and forth. We're not quite making up our mind what we're going to do, and we fire a few more shots. See if we can close the range some more. We get a non-penetrating hit. And drop smoke. Launch torpedoes, and as soon as I drop smoke, he started turning. So he's not... He's used. I think he's more used to this kind of battle than I am. He started turning straight away, and then I come out of the smoke, and he spots me straight away. And I launch torpedoes again, and he's turning away from me this time. So he's expecting the second torpedo strike coming into the direction he was sailing south. However, we're getting very close to the end of the game. We're over 900 points. We have 2 circles captured, and we're probably about to capture the third, and he's got a decent amount of hit points left. So barring a torpedo hit, I think, a lucky torpedo hit, I'm unlikely to take him out. Or the fleet in general is unlikely to take him out before the end of the game. I think that's the main reason I focused on torpedoes at this late stage, because I just thought it was unlikely I would get the opportunity to fire at him long enough to bring him down. He's put out a fire there, although if I get a second fire started, that might do the trick. But we're up 975 and we're just we've captured all 3 points now at this stage, and he's the only ship remaining, so it's only a matter of time. Some of the torpedoes have burned out, and some of them I don't think the rest of them aren't going to reach. The game's over, and let's see how we did. So waiting for the final scorecard to pop up, we got 18,520 damage, which is probably close to our double our damage. 2 torpedo hits. Got team score, became number 2, which is pretty good. The battleship there got a lot more experience, or did a lot more damage, whatever, than I did. And we have the detailed report, and we didn't cause a lot of damage to that battleship. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and a share. If you have not already done so, please subscribe. Catch you all again soon. Bye for now.